call yourself a suffragist?
The women's suffrage movement was a decades-long fight to win the right to vote for women in the United States. It took activists and reformers nearly 100 years to win that right, and the campaign was not easy. But on August 26, 1920, the 19th Amendment to the Constitution was finally ratified, declaring for the first time that all American women, like men, deserved all the rights and responsibilities of citizenship. Iron-Jawed Angels focuses on the American women's suffrage movement during the 1910s and follows women's suffrage leaders Alice Paul and Lucy Burns as they use peaceful and effective nonviolent strategies, tactics, and dialogues to revolutionize the American feminist movement to grant women the right to vote. When watching this movie and comparing it to history, it is evident that Iron-Jawed Angels is overall historically accurate to a great extent. However, there are minor inaccuracies throughout. To begin, the movie's series of events goes in chronological order of what actually happened in history. Nothing is out of place. The several different historical events depicted in the movie, like the parade, the White House picketing, and the women's imprisonment, are on the same timeline as in real life. The movie portrays an accurate series of events which allows the audience to understand the events that took place in the correct order. The next accurate piece in the movie is not related to the plot, but to the portrayal of the women. Women suffragists often wore long draping skirts, coats, and big flamboyant hats. This same style of clothing is found in the movie. The costuming is very important as it serves to depict the time period with accuracy. A more specific example of this regards Inez Milholland riding on the white horse to begin the suffrage parade. The costuming in detail is very similar to the pictures that we have of her. Furthermore, the scenes in which the women were picketing at the White House had many small details that really emulate the accuracy of the movie. First, the movie does a good job of portraying the purpose of picketing correctly. The messages that the women in the movie were trying to get across at the White House depict exactly what the real suffragists were when they picketed. Some of the signs in the movie even use the exact wording of the signs that real suffragists use. Second, the protesting of the women in the movie portray real life. The women were peaceful and remained silent. There were never any violent outbreaks that the women started. However, the film does include a scene in which Alice Paul is outraged while in front of the White House. This is completely fictional. Lastly, in real life, the women had picketed for close to a year, and the movie does a good job of allowing the audience to see the time progress by showing the changing of seasons. While this may be a minor detail, it makes the movie just that much more accurate. Moving on, the imprisonment of the women was depicted very accurately. In real life, once the United States entered World War I, the police began arresting women for their protesting. Some of the women were arrested for obstructing traffic, and once in prison, considered themselves political prisoners and organized a hunger strike. Hunger strikes spread throughout the district jail and to area workhouses. Jailers began force-feeding, a painful and humiliating experience that Paul had endured. In the movie, the arresting of the suffragists was depicted almost exactly as it was in history. Furthermore, Lucy Burns was in Occoquan, the prison, for what became known as the Night of Terror on November 15, 1917, during which she was beaten and her arms were handcuffed above her head in her cell. This is shown in the movie as well. The only two inaccuracies regarding the imprisonment regards the hunger strike and the 19th Amendment. The movie makes it seem as if the hunger strike was started solely because the women were angry that they were arrested, when in reality it was due to the bad conditions and treatment that they were provided. They were eating more poorly, given less air and exercise, and were provided sheets and blankets that have never even been washed. Furthermore, the movie makes it seem that the 19th Amendment was passed directly after the women were released from prison, but in reality a whole year had passed before it was. All in all, Iron-Jawed Angels is a good representation of the women's suffrage movement. It portrays suffragists as strong, determined women who stood up for what they believed in, which is exactly who the real women were. It shows each step that the women had to take and the obstacles they had to endure and overcome along the way. It is evident that when comparing this movie to history, Iron-Jawed Angels is overall historically accurate to a great extent, with the exception of a few minor inaccuracies that do not take away from the overall message.
You asked me to explain myself. I just wonder what needs to be explained. It should be very clear. Look into your own heart. I swear to you, mine's no different. You want a place in the trades and professions where you can earn your bread. So do I. You want some means of self-expression, some way of satisfying your own personal ambitions. So do I. You want a voice in the government under which you live. So do I.